Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's video. My name is Angel DeSantis. I make these videos on religious trauma. I teach yoga. I do a lot of things. I actually started these videos at the beginning of Corona in our initial 2-week lockdown, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks and then we'll get back to real life. But here we are, months later. But in this week's video, I wanted to talk about places that we can find joy. And especially coming out of a religious community, when you're coming out of that, your joy is already attached to things. So where you get pleasure, where you get meaning, all of that is already plugged in, and it's plugged into a religious community. And when you're coming out of that and you're unplugging, you're trying to unplug at least, what you're doing is unplugging your source of inspiration, and unplugging your source of joy, and unplugging your source of meaning. And there's a moment after everything is unplugged where you kind of don't know where to plug it in again, or there's this moment of limbo where you're not quite sure where to plug it in because it was plugged in so badly last time and it caused damage to you that you actually don't want to plug it in anywhere. And so what can end up happening, what happened for me, is I just ended up holding everything unplugged for a second and just not really having the ability to feel deep joy or to find deep inspiration. Or to feel a sense of community. And then once I started doing yoga, I started finding confidence in myself. I started finding the yoga community, and then I slowly started plugging things back in, but it was like a 20% plug, and then it went to 30, and then 40, and it was a slow ramp up to now. I know where to plug in things, and I know where I get my joy, where I get my inspiration, my community, that feeling of fullness that I think that we all want in life. And a lot of times that is a thing that drives us towards religion, is that you want a sense of fulfillment and you want a sense of fullness and purpose in life. And religion can offer that to you. And there are a lot of people who are in religion in a way that is healthy for them mentally. But if you're here, it's likely that religion was used against you and you've suffered religious abuse. And now you might be in this space where everything is unplugged and you kind of don't know where to plug it in, and you feel like you've lost your joy, you've lost your inspiration, you've lost your purpose. And if that's you, just know that that's okay, that's normal. You're in that space right now where you've unplugged everything, and it's okay to be there. But if you don't get your curiosity back and start trying to find ways to plug in, then you might be there for a little bit longer than you really need to. So with this video today, I really wanted to encourage you just to be where you are, and also to walk towards your own joy, whatever it looks like for you. And I have a story. There was this religious song that I used to sing when I was little. I was raised in a cult called the Children of God. They were really big on music, on live music, which is why I don't really like live music now. But we did a bunch of inspiration songs, a bunch of live music. And there was one song that I could sing really well. I trained myself to sing it because I loved the woman who sang it. And I would sing that song whenever I was testing my voice. And I don't sing as a career. I sing in my car, so it's a personal career. But I love doing it. And for years I sang that song for decades. That was my check for my voice of, oh, can I do these runs and do I hit these notes? And then when I started moving away from religion and having to unplug everything, I couldn't sing that song because it was a song to Jesus. And I just couldn't even say the word Jesus without getting a full body freeze up and gag reflex. So I didn't sing it for years. And the other week I was walking around and I caught myself singing the song. And I was feeling really good. I was very happy. And then I noticed that I was singing the song just to test my voice again. And right away I stopped and I was like, I should feel bad. I shouldn't sing this song. This is something that's I don't like. And then the next thing that came in was, well, now it's no longer a source of pain. This actually brings me joy to be able to revisit something that was really painful for so long, and to revisit it and still not, and feel lightness like I used to, and feel just good about where I'm at in my life now, even though it was something that used to bring up a bad memory. Because my whole thing in my recovery from religious trauma is what they stem access to is they stem access to joy. They stem access to inspiration, and they tell you you can have joy if you follow Jesus and if you do this and that. You can have inspiration if you don't let yourself do this, then etc. So for me, when I caught myself singing the song, initially I was like, wait a second, I hate this song. It's about Jesus. I don't want to be singing it. And then the next layer that came in was, you know what? This is something that I used to do all the time that brought me joy. And now I'm in a moment where I didn't realize that I was supposed to feel bad about it, so I didn't. And so maybe now I can start singing it again, and it can bring me joy in the way that it used to. And I just want to come on here and say that, because I think some of us will feel guilty sometimes of like, why do I still feel inspiration from church music because I hate the church? Or why do I still feel like a connection to God when something happens if God was used against me? And it can feel really conflicting inside of you. And again, with religious trauma, the thing that happens is they need you to feel confused in order to help control who you are, because they can be like, are you confused? Here's why, and here's the remedy. And it is a lot tougher to kind of sort through your own emotions internally. But my advice is going to be to keep walking towards the things that bring you joy. And if you still find inspiration in a song that you love, or a thing that you did, or communion with certain people, or a personal connection to God, let yourself feel that joy. Because again, what religious abuse does is it stems your access to joy. So if you have found a way to get your joy back, keep it. It is important. And just because something was harmful before doesn't necessarily mean it's harmful now. For me, I realized that I was in a different place. And now when I sing the song, it is specifically to feel that sort of sense of nostalgia. And I remember how much joy it used to bring me. And so now I was like, oh, can it still feel that same way? And let me be curious about, does it still make me feel the same way? Can I still hit the notes? Instead of being like, oh, I shouldn't be singing this. Oh, that's right, this was used against me. Oh my God, what a horrible time. And there is always a choice. There is always a choice when you catch yourself feeling either the lack because everything is unplugged, or revisiting things that used to bring you joy when you were in a different circumstance. And I know that it can feel very confusing, but the thing that is always true is that you deserve joy. And so if something brings you joy and it's not harmful to you and it's not harmful to anyone else, stay in it. Give yourself permission to get joy from wherever it comes from, whatever source that it comes from. Let yourself feel the feeling of joy and the feeling of peace. And if you still get that from religion, or from a connection to God, let yourself have that. It's not a black and white situation. And religious, religious entities, I don't know the word, religious structures, will try and teach you that it is black or white. And so when you come out of it, you might feel like, well, now I can never source joy from anything to do with the church anymore. And that's not true. You can source joy from wherever it comes from, and you deserve joy. So remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that you deserve joy, and let yourself feel it from wherever it comes from. So that was my story for this week. If there are places that you find joy, or if this resonates with you and you want to share something, please do. Leave it below in the comments so that other people can see where you source joy from as well, and maybe it'll help them. But thank you guys for being here always, and I will see you next time.